blunt or some shit. Smoke at the end and get drunk. Hey, ping that open. Call them up. Order me some motherfucking Hennessy. Wu-Tang got mansions in the hills. Whole squad thick, whole squad paying bills. Red left on high wheels, bumping down Sunset. La Meridian, Scott Walker. What is this? My eyes, they caught up in the seat. Look at Jay-Z. At the sauce, swap me, get Memphis Bleaks into the khaki. Yeah, well, real niggas get passes sometimes. Out of bounds in the lands of the sunshine. Even Biggie said he was coming back. And even if he did, we'd accept him because the nigga's black. You bleed just like us. Jimmy being scared of a nigga that breathe the same air as me. What? You bleed just like us. Was a song I did bump on blocks and beaches with beating my trunk night and day. With 80% of the population gangbang. Some of y'all hate, but I know y'all got to love LA. Yeah, night and day. Y'all can play with gangsta stuff. Some of y'all hate, but I know y'all got to love LA. Night and day. Straight up. Y'all can play with gangsta stuff. You can catch LA with Venice Beach on Sundays, catching sun rays, eyes playing this little game like watching ass sway back and forth. But I'm macking the most, stripes on my coat, a bragging boast. Let's go. Jennifer Lopez and Puffy at Miyagi's eating sushi. Nah, tell me, what else does your eyes see? A lot of other coast niggas pass through frequently, and it's cool cause y'all pay dues and I pay them too. Some of y'all hate, but I know y'all got to love LA. Yeah, night and day. Y'all can play with gangsta stuff. Some of y'all hate, but I know y'all got to love LA. In the land of the sunshine where bitches have good times, palm trees and sea breezes, and I'm out to find a fine girl so I can try my new Mac lines. You seen the locks? Yeah. Ludacris? No. Too short? Yeah. That's my dog, so I did a rap with him to increase my dough. Was he dope? Yeah. Is he fake? No. We gang bang, hop 6 4 over 5 deep with 3 or 4 whole night and day. With 80% of the population gang bang. Some of y'all hate, but I know y'all got to love LA. Yeah, night and day. Y'all can play with gangsta stuff. Most of y'all hate, but I know y'all got to love LA. In the land of the sunshine where bitches have good times, palm trees and sea breezes, and I'm out to find a fine girl so I can try my new Mac lines. Yeah, fly is the weather I feel to breathe. LAC, night and day. Inner city living, inner city game, casual.
All right, enough of that funky stuff. Now, before I get started, not Facebook, fam. I'm so used to Facebook. My YouTube family, before I get started, a bitch tired. How you doing? Donnie Williams, Keith Weston, right? Hit the number 1 if you can hear me good. A bitch tired, Donnie Williams. Before I go on, hit that number 1. I want to make sure I'm heard good, because I did some. All right. Hey, Donnie, I think my music sounds a little clearer than it usually do. Let me know. I didn't know there's a box you can click. Share the audio of the video that you're sharing. What you say, Keith Washington? Let me see what you said. Peace, brother. Chief X, have you heard about this Jamaican immigrant from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who was killed on a hunting trip with a group of white folks out here? It's crazy they're still hunting us. No, I haven't heard of that story. But don't let that be a generalization. We hunting each other like a motherfucker out here. I'm reading all this crime that we doing. Crazy out here. See, we gotta focus on ourselves for a minute. You know what I mean? Because we commit the most crimes in damn near all categories in America. Black folk. Yep. It's just an uncomfortable truth, but we out here fucking up big time. So, we talking about the real ancient Egyptians, and I just wanted to, because I was watching one of my brother Gamel's video, and I said I'm going to share his video and do a live stream with it, because he be coming with some heat, right? And I'm just tired of people stealing other people's history and still claiming this and that. Now, we put a stop to a lot of this bullshit. People then fell back, repping Egypt. People realizing, hey, they ain't no ancient Egyptians. They didn't descend from the ancient Egyptians. They have nothing at all to do with North Africa. People are realizing that now because of me. Yes, I'm taking credit. All right. And people are starting to wake up. People are starting to see a lot of them Afrocentric elder scholars was lying or just simply dead wrong. Got you sub-Saharan and West Central Africans thinking that you a North African. No, we're not North Africans. So let me go ahead and share my screen and get into this. Right, so as you see my map right here, right? Let me go to this one real quick. As you see my map here, right here. Now, Chief X has been the only one who's been telling and teaching and saying this one statement. North Africa is not Black Africa and never was Black Africa. I'm going to say that damn near every video. No one has said that to you, but it's the truth. See, sometimes when you hear African, first thing that comes to your mind is a nappy haired black person that looks like me and most of us listening. They didn't tell you, a lot of the Afrocentrics didn't tell you that North Africa is not Black Africa. It never was, right? Let me turn my little lamp on right here so I can get these countries right. So, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Egypt, Tunisia was never Black Africa. Okay? Now, the peopling of North Africa, as you see in the yellow here, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, and they have Sudan in here, right? Now, some people include Sudan in North Africa. I personally don't. I don't mind if someone else do. It's just some people. The African Union doesn't include Sudan as North Africa, but the other unions and organizations consider Sudan North Africa. I personally don't. It's not a big deal even to argue about. But personally, I don't consider Sudan North Africa. Okay? So Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, right? Then you go on more east, right outside the continent, in the Near East, the Levant, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Kuwait. A lot of these people share genetic affinities all across North Africa. You have to understand this and sink this in your head first. A lot of these people in the yellow share, I don't want to get too far Afghanistan and Pakistan, but in general, where it says Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, a lot of these people share genetic affinities with North Africans. Understand that. You don't. And these North Africans have been here at least 30,000 years. In 30,000 years, over 30,000 years, North Africa has not been Black Africa. Now, people come with the green Sahara argument when the Sahara was green. But I don't use that argument. It's 6,000 years ago. And that's the only argument they lean on to try to fit themselves in to North Africa, right? A lot of the Afrocentrics, a lot of people in the conscious community are so hell-bent that they want to force themselves to be North African or Mediterranean Africans. You're not a Mediterranean African, okay? Where the pyramids is Cairo, pyramids of Giza, that's along and very close to the Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean people built those pyramids. And people used to trip when I used to say Mediterranean people built the pyramids. Yep, Mediterranean, the Pyramid of Giza, the Sphinx, and all that is right along the Mediterranean Sea. And everybody along the Mediterranean Sea, the Greeks, around Levant, all these people have Mediterranean food. Egyptian food is considered Mediterranean food. Me and most of my YouTube subscribers and my Facebook friends are sub-Saharan Africans, meaning below the Sahara. To be specific, mainly West and Central Africa. Okay? Never, ever, 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 ever had anything to do with North Africa. Get that in your head, and then things will start becoming a little clearer to you. I know they didn't teach you that, but Chief X is. Okay? So, there goes North Africa, right? We're below that. I don't know if you can see my arrow. The Sahara is in the middle. We're below the Sahara down here. The Sahara acted as a natural border, preventing people from going up north. It's hot in the Sahara. You can't walk through the Sahara. People die every day in the Sahara Desert. Lack of water, lack of food, and it's just miles and miles and miles of sand and heat. Okay? Even in a vehicle, these people are dying every day in the Sahara. Okay. Now, let me just go on and get to this video I wanted to play by my brother Gamal Nasir. Now, this is not Gamal Nasir. Gamal Nasir is actually a black man. Actually, he lives in Tanzania. The video I'm about to play is the brother who made it. He lives in Tanzania. He's a Tanzanian. Okay? So he lives, what is that, like? Little below Kenya is Tanzania. Okay? So here are the real Egyptians. I just wanted to show some pictures and things you can relate to and gear your mind to get an understanding of. Here we go. Oh, let me pause it. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Mal G's, what's up? Snow Christ V2. Keith Western, what's happening, y'all? These people are Egyptian. Now, let me be clear. Let me just say something real quick. People think that the Egyptians are Arab. There's some Arabs in the nation of Egypt, okay? But when Arabs conquered Egypt, only an army of 4,000 came in, right? They didn't displace the people, okay? The modern Egyptians, today's Egyptians, are the ancient Egyptians. Nobody ever disappeared. Nobody vanished. Nobody migrated away. They only changed and switched politically and religiously. and began to embrace Islam and made political changes. The people remained the same. Nobody, because it's the Afrocentrics, and people want you to believe that they just disappeared. The ancient Egyptians just disappeared and went off because they were conquered by all these people. Bullshit. Straight bullshit. Okay? All of sub-Saharan Africa was chopped up and colonized. But guess what? Them people are still there. They didn't disappear. They didn't disperse. They didn't migrate away. People don't do that. Okay? The ancient Egyptians never told you that they dispersed or migrated anywhere. Where are black Americans getting this bullshit from? They're getting it from Afrocentrics and cult leaders like Dr. Ben and others who brainwashed us. Who told you that the ancient Egyptians dispersed and disappeared? Who told you that? The ancient Egyptians didn't. They never wrote it. You got that bullshit from Afrocentrics and others who want you to believe that. They want you to believe that a black population was replaced by another population. And that's 100% bullshit. See, what I pause again. I'm going to stop. But what Afrocentrics has done over the years is cherry-picked pictures. They cherry-picked that 100 years where Nubians ruled Egypt out of the 3,000 years and show you them statues and pictures, but they cherry-pick. So your mind is flooded with cherry-picked pictures. But when you go there, you go to the museum, you'll see a vast majority of the pictures I'm showing you. Vast majority. But you won't know no better. Same people along the Nile, these are the same melanated Egyptians. Same people who are there now were there in ancient times. You weren't there. If you go to Egypt today, 97% look just like what I'm showing you. 97%. 1% may be mixed and some Nubians in there, but the Nubians are relegated to the Nubian village. It's a place where displaced Nubians go because of a flood. The Nubian village in Egypt is what the Nubians look like, or rather, I'll say Northern Sudan, because we're gonna get to Southern Sudan after this video. Same type of boats, same people. Same plant life, same people been tending to these plant life. These people have never disappeared. They still do the same type of work, same plowing with cows. They never disappeared. It's not true. You were not in ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians weren't black people. The Nubians were black people. Now you see all the cattle and cows and stuff? They have a different relationship with their cattle than South Sudan's or Nilotic people do with their cattle. Oh, and we're going to get to that at the end of this. Oh, stay with me. Hundreds of years ago, they were the same as they are right now and here. No different. They're melanated. It's the same people on the walls. Also understand the pyramids in Egypt, the one that are in Sudan, are a couple thousand years later built. You know, 1,000 years are a lot. A couple thousand years later, Sudan has some smaller ones. They were influenced by these people that you're looking at, the Egyptians. Same people. If you go to Egypt today, you won't find yourself there. You won't. If you see 100 people, one might look like you. In Egypt. So I don't know why these people go to Egypt and take these tours to Egypt and don't come back and tell you this truth. You don't see your black ass there. 97% of the people there were the same people who were there in ancient times, and this is what they look like. They do not look like you. Paul, this man's darker than me. Definitely darker than light-skinned black folk. Definitely. Everybody has melanin. It's not a big deal. Same women. Same women. Leave these people history and culture alone and get your black ass back to West Central Africa. I'm sick of you niggas. Same women. Yeah, this is an Egyptian woman right here. A curly head Egyptian woman who embraces Islam. Well, I don't know if she does, but the religion is Islam. And that doesn't mean that they're Arab. The OGs, look at the OGs, the OG Egyptian ladies. The Bee Gees. Y'all need to apologize and leave these people's culture alone. Everybody who took on a comedic name, say I ain't fucked up, I got brainwashed, I was in a cult. Just admit the shit and move on. Dr. Ben is a cult leader. Period. Pause. I pause. Dr. Ben didn't teach y'all about your history at all. He didn't teach you guys that you were West Central Africans and you wasn't the Egyptians. He didn't tell you North Africans what North Africa ain't Black Africa. He didn't say none of that, and he knew it. Dr. Ben taught North Africans history, not Black history, ever. I even got a video of some kid speaking Coptic, which is the closest language to the ancient Egyptian language. You ain't gonna find no black person speaking Coptic. Wasn't y'all culture, wasn't y'all history. IMV, they didn't have people with elongated heads. You're talking about just some depictions of art, not real life people. Now, it's some Nilotics who have the elongated head. Same bread baking techniques. They still make that papyrus the same way they did in ancient times. Sub-Saharan Africans ain't making no papyrus like that. Let me just say this again. Ancient Egyptians never disappeared. They never migrated away. They never got dispersed. Ever. And anybody tell you that is lying and brainwashed. These are the same people. British conquered Ghana. The people didn't disappear. They're still there. All them Africans is still there, whether conquered or not. Same with the Egyptians. The MD20 interested to ask a question. Interested to see your views why the phenotypes change so dramatically going across the Mediterranean Sea. Phenotypes change everywhere in the world. I mean it's no different. Like, a lot of us blacks look different than each other, have different phenotypes than each other. I mean, my family don't look like Whitney Houston. I mean, Whitney Houston may have a little different phenotype than I do. You know what I mean? So phenotypes and facial structures change whether it's Asian people or African people or people in North America. Plus, in like Tunisia, in Algeria, they had some admixture from some European admixture. So a lot of Tunisians are lighter than other Berbers and North Africans. You get what I'm saying? But I'm not the genetic guy, so I try to leave her alone. I just kick that common sense science. Yeah, crossbreeding with each other. North Africans don't have much sub-Saharan DNA. Not much at all. Yeah, different Mediterranean people crossbreeding with other Mediterranean people. Nope, Richard T. I say the Egyptians was never black unless you're talking about the Nubian dynasty, the 25th dynasty. But again, they were Nubians who conquered Egypt and ruled for 100 years. There's never any black tribe that ever set up camp in North Africa and their culture was born there, and there's a tribe or nation that lives there. It's just never happened. got curly afros and shit. Now that was cool. Now, this may piss you off, but I said let me just share this video just to piss them off. Now, this speaks on the Mandari people, who are a Nilotic people, all right? And we're going to see who the Mandari people are. The Mandari people, right? Basically Nilotic, basically Southern Sudan, right? The Mandari are a small ethnic group of South Sudan and part of the Karo people, one of the Nilotic peoples, okay? This group is composed of cattle herders and agriculturalists and are part of the Karo people, which includes Bari, Pujulu, Kakwa, Kuku, Nyangwara, Kutak. I can't pronounce the names, but you get what I'm saying. So, right? So, these are people in southern Sudan, right? And this is another image of them. And sometimes you'll see them with images with the lines across the forehead, right? So, now this is south of Egypt or even south of Sudan. It is actually southern Sudan, okay? This is the Mandari people. Now, this video might piss you off, but I'm just trying to let you know they were different people with different cultures. And you know what? We just got to be real, because I was sharing a video, and it's a great video on the geography of Africa, and it explains why Sub-Saharan Africa was underdeveloped, right? Goes into speaking about because they were cut off from the rest of the world, right? Now, it's a subject matter not spoke on a lot, but when I look at the map and the geography of it, Sub-Saharan Africa was cut off, right? The Sahara Desert cut them off from the north, right? In the north, North Africans were able to do trade, do business, and do everything amongst each other and amongst other Mediterranean people. But below the Sahara Desert, Sub-Saharan Africa was cut off from the rest of the world. And when you look at a map, you can actually understand what they mean. So they weren't, and on top of that, they weren't a seafaring people. Us Sub-Saharan Africans, we weren't seafaring people, right? Now, we may have had some canoes and cruise along the coast, you know, like the beach, but we weren't seafaring people. So Sub-Saharan Africa was left to its own vices and was underdeveloped and did not trade and do business with the rest of the world, in a sense, okay? While people around the Mediterranean were freely doing business with, you know, people in the Levant, the Near East, all the Mediterranean countries along the Mediterranean Sea and coast, Southern Europeans and, you know, Spain, and, you know, they were able to progress. All right? Now, if you don't understand the geography of Africa and why Africa was underdeveloped, you should go to my YouTube page. I did a video 2 weeks ago on the geography of Africa and why. It's very interesting. Okay? Now, we just read about the Mandari people who were southern Sudan. And let's just watch a video, because remember I said I'm going to get back to this cattle cult. And the way they see their cattle is different from the way the Egyptians seen their cattle. Okay? They treated the cattle way differently. They dress differently. And people are using the excuses because it was hot. Well, they were naked because it was hot. No, it's just some areas of the world underdeveloped. It's just the reality of it. Even in Southeast Asia, it's just underdeveloped nations. It's underdeveloped nations in places in the Americas, in Brazil. You know what I mean? Everybody just didn't develop at the same time. It doesn't mean they're not as smart. It doesn't mean innately people are smarter than another people. Humans are humans, and we're 99.9% alike. But just certain areas geographically developed in progress faster than other areas. And other areas are still underdeveloped because of their location in the world. And that's sub-Saharan Africa, right? It is what it is. I don't have a problem with that no more. I've learned to be honest about it and accept it. Because I know it's not an innate intelligence thing. It's just influences, and people develop quicker than others. You can take a people out of an underdeveloped area and put them in a developed area and educate them, and you're not going to see no big difference in their IQ, per se. Okay? So let's just get with some of these Mandari people and see what they're doing. And this may piss you off, but I specifically wanted to show this video just to piss you off. You know I ain't no good, boy. Here we go. Now, they're naked. Just naked.
Much like the days when Stanley dared cut through tom-toms, announced the intrusion of the white man. The Dinka and Mundari herdsmen at dawn and again at dusk, the men are the ones who care for the children. This includes protecting them from a world of predatory insects that swarm the area looking for free room and board on warm-blooded hosts. The fathers give the children a scrupulous washing with cow urine. Those who have come of age shower directly under the source of nature's own insect repellent. To further guarantee the repellent effectiveness of the ammonia contained in the urine, the Dinka and Mundari powder themselves with specially burnt and pulverized cattle dung. Disgusting? Any insect would agree with you. The beneficial use of excrement is just...
They're washing their head with urine, cow urine.
Just another example of how centuries of trial and error in adverse terrain have bestowed a perfect working knowledge of nature upon a primitive people. But does the word primitive do justice to an all-encompassing rapport with reality?
Now, there's been some discussions on some streams about the word primitive. And it just, when people hear the word primitive, it just pisses them off, right? Because people will internalize and feel, oh, they're not stupid. They're not. No. They're just underdeveloped. You can pick one of them out from a baby and put them in another nation, and they'll thrive and learn just like any other human, because we're just alike. But some areas and some geographical areas are just simply underdeveloped and primitive. And it's okay.
In which man is at once victim, accomplice, and we are now not only dealing with rudimentary forms of religious and socio-economic organization, as some would have it, but have entered a much darker, chaotic realm where the difference between terror and ecstasy is meaningless, and where the linchpin of all existence is magic.
So, he said magic, and they have their spiritual system. And y'all sit here and talk about, let's return back to African spirituality. Oh, really? So you're saying go backwards? Because there's all kind of African spirituality, and different tribes have different beliefs. You want to go back to African spirituality? Okay.
his family. Branded while still calves, each head is given a lifelong name and lavished with loving care. If the animal were to die prematurely, the heartbroken herdsman would mourn for days.
Now, let me pause. Now, even them, Nilotics, are not your people. They're not your ancestors. They are different people. Just because somebody's black with kinky hair does not mean that you're same people. It's the same thing as Chinese people and Indian people both have black straight hair. That does not mean that they are the same people and genetically related. It's the same in Africa. Only black Americans think like that. Everyone else in the world know that they're different cultures and ethnicities and people. Everyone on Asia, continent of Asia, don't claim each other. Only black Americans do that. Even Africans on the continent don't claim each other. They say, I'm Kenyan, I'm Ghanaian, or I'm whatever your tribal name is. They know that they're different than somebody from Tanzania and Ghana, two different peoples. Doesn't mean you're genetically related. So the Nubians and the Nilotics aren't your people either.
With the same devotion with which he doctored the calf's flesh after having seared it with a branding iron, a Mundari guards his herd from diseases and fractures. A conscientious herdsman would more readily comply to the moods and whims of his cattle than to those of his...
Crisscross, if you lost, you should like a lot of times people come to these live streams and just start watching. Rewind it all the way to the beginning. You can't start a book in the middle of the book. Rewind it to the beginning. You don't have to be here while the chat is live. You can just rewind this thing all the way to the beginning, and then you'll have a better understanding. If you're lost with this video, it's because you popped in here in the middle of it, and you're starting reading the book in the middle of the book. It's never advised. Even like people live, if I see somebody live, I don't care what the fucking chat is doing. I'll rewind it to the beginning because I gotta see what the lead up was to this. And what the point was. I want to understand fully. So I don't be watching videos just to play and to kick it in the chat and bullshit and kiki with the chat. If I watch a video, I'm trying to understand and learn something. So I'll rewind it to the beginning during a live stream if I'm late.
Wives. The Mundari's reverence for their oxen is so magically ingrained in their collective psyche that they offer up songs and ritualistic dances to honor them. Copying the animal's movements in a symbolically erotic pantomime, these cowboys of the White Nile re-establish an ancient link with their totem, the spirit of their clan, the generating and unifying force of their tribe.
So you want to go back to this African spirituality? Or is the black church better for you? Huh?
If their magic ritual is well received by the totem, the cow...
It's a magic ritual. I mean, y'all sit up here and bash the church and your parents and family members and call them crazy and stupid. But do y'all go in on people on the continent of Africa with these wild, crazy beliefs they have? Or do you sit up here and act like African spiritual religions are better? Huh? They're all belief systems. But y'all said you want to get back to African spirituality, huh? Okay.
Will swell with milk, the women will be fertile, and the tribe will prosper. If not, only grueling hardships are in the offing. Offending the totem is worse than inviting oneself to an excruciatingly painful death. Physio-religious practice is an integral part of the Mundari religion and lifestyle, and is exalted with no inhibitions. Puffing into a narrow opening of a cow's vagina in order to restore fertility or to shorten pregnancy is a very common practice among the Mundari.
So they feel like blowing into a cow's vagina like he's doing, helps the fertility and other beliefs and stuff. You want to go back to this African spirituality, or what, you want to choose another African spirituality, or you want to leave the black church alone? Now, this is a video of, this is not ancient at all. Whoever said that, this is not ancient. They still do this in South Sudan. This is a video, not a picture of some ancient art. The black church ain't done no damage to nobody. It's religion everywhere. You go to Ghana, it's white Jesuses everywhere. It's Christianity and Islam all through Africa. The major religions of Africa is Christianity and Islam. Same in India, Asia, everywhere, the world. So you can't say it messed us up and didn't mess nobody else up. That just doesn't make any common sense. You get what I'm saying? People are just mad at white folk in the church and Christianity. And they just have this resentment. I mean, I had an argument with somebody, and I was saying African traditional religions are primitive compared to Abrahamic faiths. And people went crazy and didn't understand what I was saying. I said, you have more crazy, wild beliefs in African traditional religions than you do in Abrahamic faiths. And I'll debate anybody on that. Yeah, all of it's old tradition. All belief systems are old tradition. I'm like, what do you mean? That's it. I'm in competition thing. Instead, see, you have to break down your defenses, and then you can be like me and be like, you know what? This is just the way it was. Certain geographical areas are primitive and underdeveloped. Certain areas are developed. And just keep shit real. No more romanticization.
Oral stimulation, which includes puffing, sucking, and spitting into natural orifices, is the customary method for magically invoking and exorcising spirits from an afflicted body. The therapeutic value of magical autosuggestion has long been well known. When a Mundari witch sucks on the body of an old sick woman, she is putting magic to the service of medicine. If the witch is able to transfer the evil spirit tormenting the woman into a younger, healthier body, able to resist that particular ailment, the woman will survive.
Yeah, I played this video just to get up under people's skin. That's the reason I played this, to show you a sharp contrast. These are not ancient Egyptians or descendants of ancient Egyptians. They're not.
Prove to be insufficient to unswell the pregnant cow, the desperate Mundari will try more conventional methods. At dusk, her precious manure will be burnt along with that of the other cow, and will serve the Mundari well as a cleansing agent and as comfortable bedding for the long African.
So like people got mad. It was a couple months ago. I was like, a lot of y'all who trying to be cute and shit and embrace Ifa and certain African traditions belief, even though it may be different from this belief and what they believe in magic and shit. Regardless, you're still going backwards, and you're only doing it to try to impress a black American and act like you better than or you really about that life. No, you went backwards. When you left the church, talk all that shit, be in the conscious community, and then turn around and embrace an African traditional religion, you went backwards. You degressed. Now, crisscross, I'm not a religious person, but I'm just saying. It doesn't, I mean, all this stuff, a lot of it's irrelevant, but I'm just saying. I'm talking about what people are saying. They'll bash Christianity, but give African traditional religions a pass as if it's better than or better for you. You get what I'm saying? Let's just keep this shit real. And it's not. You're degressing. It's 2022. It's about progress and STEM science today. If it's not about STEM and science, you're degressing. And you're gonna be behind. Yeah, all them cats in the conscious community talking about let's get initiated, I'm initiated, and thinking they better than, they're degressing and went backwards. And they only did it to try to front for y'all and act like they're better than. Get your black ass back in the church, if anything, and get with your mama and daddy and your grandparents and build a relationship back up. If you're going to do anything. If you're going to do something, respect your mama religion and your grandmama religion. Okay. Those were the Mandari people. And this is North Africa, a place where black folk never set up camp and their culture was never born there. Get that in your head. North Africa has never been black Africa. I've been saying this for the last year and nobody wants to call me on it and can prove me otherwise. I told everybody, name the tribe then, name the nation. Nobody today has named this tribe or nation that lived and set up camp in North Africa. The closest thing they got was the Garamanti peoples, who came out the Green Sahara 6,000 years ago. That's the closest thing they got. And that was out of the bounds of the 5,000 year range I gave people. And even those were mulattoes and mixed. There were Berbers. So all that Dr. Ben shit and all them Kemetic names and shit, all that is North African people's shit. That's white Africa. I'm from black Africa, not white Africa. Okay. Hold on. Come on back to me. It's okay. Breathe, people. Breathe. So I just wanted to share Homeboy's video and what y'all talking about in the chat. Some people in Amazon do these same things as well. Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's a lot of underdeveloped, there's a lot of primitive people in the world, not just sub-Saharan Africa. Southeast Asia, all in the Amazon and Brazil, some Latin nations. I mean, everywhere. Sub-Saharan Africans are not the only ones. It's okay. Once you say to yourself, you know what? Certain areas of Africa were just underdeveloped. It doesn't mean that there's smarter people in these other areas. It just means that they advanced and progressed at a different rate because of their environment and their ability to navigate and trade with others. Other people were seafaring. Sub-Saharan Africans weren't seafaring people. We didn't build big boats, and we had little canoes and shit like the Native Americans had canoes. We had canoes like the Native American have canoes. Right? So we weren't able to do any distance traveling at all. So let me see if I can pull up a map real quick. Before we disperse. Which one I'm going to choose? Let me click on this one. Hold on. Now, if you can see my arrow, here's a Sahara desert. Nobody really lives up in there. It's too fucking hot, right? Here's North Africa above it, right? So North Africans were able to do trade and business and be influenced by everyone along the Mediterranean Sea. All these Mediterranean nations and peoples who had Mediterranean food. All up here in the Levant, Turkey, Syria, the Near East, and they were. Now, under the Sahara, this desert, here we go with Sub-Saharan Africa. When you look around, if you're not seafaring, you're locked in. And you can't do no business with anybody except other Sub-Saharan African people. You can't be influenced by anyone else but other Sub-Saharan African peoples. Unlike North Africans can be influenced by all kind of nations and things. Sub-Saharan Africans were cut off. Couldn't cross nowhere around these big waters. Now, Asia, the whole Asia is connected, and they can do business. Sub-Saharan Africa is a cutoff by the Sahara Desert. Just the way it is. And geographically, we weren't in good position. Wait a minute, I'm supposed to be sharing my screen and I'm just talking. Hold on. Let me get back to this. Okay, here we go now. Okay, here goes the map. I thought I was sharing my screen. Excuse me, y'all. I wasn't even reading the comments. I'm sorry. Okay, so I was saying, here goes Africa. There's a big where my arrow is the desert. Sub-Saharan Africa is the desert acts as a natural barrier, right? So Sub-Saharan Africa is cut off from the rest of the world. We couldn't cross these oceans because we didn't have seafaring boats. We had little canoes, and you can only go along the coast, along the beach. But like you see in Asia right here, they're able to trade and be influenced by the whole world, by the Mediterraneans, all kind of shit. Right? So Sub-Saharan Africans were only able to be influenced and do business with Sub-Saharan Africans. Unless you're along the Nile in Sudan, which is kind of like a reprieve from the Sahara Desert in that barrier, then those blacks in northern Sudan were able to go up and down the Nile and do business and trade with North Africans. You get it? Only this group, the Northern Sudan, were able to go up and down the Nile and do business and trade with Egypt. The rest of sub-Saharan Africa wasn't able to do that. You get what I'm saying? Where my arrow is where I'm from. It's where Ghana is, and here goes the Congo, Central Africa. All this, where my arrow is tropical Africa. I'm a tropical African. Up here in Algeria and Libya, this is arid Africa, desert Africa. I'm not a desert or arid African. I'm a tropical African, just like most of the people listening to me. So Chris Cross, he says the white man outsmarted everybody they came into contact with in ancient times. That's why they're on top of the modern world. Well, the Portuguese are the ones who advanced shipbuilding technology, then the Dutch. But the Portuguese in late 1300s advanced shipbuilding technology. And then 1400, they started sailing to places they hadn't been to, right? And that's when human trafficking across large body oceans began, once they developed shipbuilding technology and ships that are able to cross large body oceans. The Portuguese did that first. And then the human trafficking across large body oceans jumped off then. But prior to that, everybody was either enslaving or got enslaved at some point in time in history. Everybody. When you hear about the what they call the wars, the Europeans, about 2 million Europeans got enslaved by North Africans. The Barbary Wars, that's what it's called, the Barbary Wars. About 2 million got enslaved by North Africans. When they was traveling through North Africa and through the Mediterranean, they had pirates. They was jacking them, like carjacking their ass. And taking them and enslaving them and things like that. And then, who was it? Woodrow Wilson in 1920? They involved themselves in the Barbary Wars and came from the United States and helped out these European nations fight against North Africans, because North Africans was tearing their ass up along the Mediterranean Sea. Arabs was enslaving, what Europeans was enslaving, and Africans was enslaving each other. If Africans had ships and built ships and were able to travel to other nations, they would have been enslaving other nations too, just like other nations enslaved them. Humans are humans. Africans was enslaving each other before the white man, before the Arab. They were invading other tribes, just like Europeans invaded Africa. Africans were invading other countries in Africa. And that's how tribes got bigger and more powerful. The Asante got bigger and bigger and bigger, more powerful gang banging on weaker tribes and invading them. Even in the Congo, what's the girl name? Queen Nzinga. Her tribe and nation got big and bigger and bigger because she was gang banging on smaller tribes and incorporating them into her tribe. Everybody was invading everybody. Everybody was enslaving or being enslaved. It didn't matter who. It was the way of the world long ago. Shaka Zulu was an enslaver. Mansa Musa was an enslaver. Nzinga was an enslaver. They were all enslavers. They all knew that people was being put on boats on a horrible journey to the west, packed like sardines, and Nzinga's known they was packed like sardines on boats. They didn't give a fuck. Everybody was trying to make some money and hustle and improve their quality of life. It's just what it is. Okay, so I just wanted to share that a little bit. Would you say the Romans and Persians, etc., were enslavers? Yep. So Chris Cross says, why do we need reparations if Africans did this to other Africans? Or so we draw Africans, or so where do we draw the line, I think you're trying to say. I don't think the slavery to the point that my ancestors suffered here in America. Now, with Chris Cross, what you're doing, this is what people do. When you talk about indigenous African slavery, like in this book, Indigenous Slavery in Ghana talks about the slavery in Ghana prior to the white man. Every time, it never fails. Every time I bring up indigenous slavery and let people know that Africans were enslaving Africans before the white man, they always revert to what Chris Cross said. Well, it wasn't as bad as the transatlantic slave trade. Now, I'm not one who's in competition and to be trying to say this one's worse. Now, the transatlantic slave trade was brutal. Yeah, may have been worse, but I'm just saying slavery is slavery, and all slavery is wrong. That's my point. Doesn't matter whose was worser and whose wasn't worser. Slavery is slavery, and it's all wrong. You get what I'm saying? I'm not in a competition with nobody or whose slavery was worse. I've grown past that shit. You didn't say if it was or just as bad. I'm asking. Are you talking about like indigenous slavery between it? Well, put it this way. In indigenous slavery, most of the women who were kidnapped or girls who were kidnapped from other tribes, they were forced to have sex with the village chief or whoever was in charge from a child all the way till they died. Now, slavery in America, everybody wasn't forced to have sex. Every slave master wasn't raping the young girls and women. You know what I mean? So, but every woman that was kidnapped in indigenous slavery was required to have sex. All that gold that was given to the white man, ivory and gold, who you guys think was mining that gold? African slaves. Now, crisscross, reparations is a different thing. Reparations is not for slavery worldwide. Everyone has their own lane. Reparations in America is for free labor and redlining. All that free labor in the cotton field, reparations is for them. On the continent of Africa are not responsible for what North American slavery did. North American slavery is responsible for that. So the Brits are responsible for the slavery in Jamaica. So the Brits have to pay that debt to Jamaicans. America have to pay the debt to ADOS, to African Americans. The continent of Africa has nothing to do with the free labor reparations movement. We kind of try to bunch them in, but you have to separate them in a court case. because it's specific. Brits ain't responsible for paying reparations to black Americans who were in American cotton fields. Do you get what I'm saying? Brits is responsible for Jamaican slavery in sugarcane fields. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that and show who the ancient Egyptian is and who the modern Egyptian is, and they are the same people. Okay, so us black Americans got to get the hell out of ancient Egypt, stop claiming it, stop stealing other people's histories, and be proud of your own. Peace, Markel Maxwell. And be proud of your own and represent your own. And when you visit the continent, go visit where your ancient ancestors are and help out their economy. You don't have to go help out the Arab Emirate economy in Egypt. You can go right here to Ghana, Nigeria, and Central Africa and visit and help out the economy there. Someone says, so do Eurocentrics. I'm not sure what you're referring to when you say that. Maybe somebody in the comments. But just to elaborate on that, since you wrote the word Eurocentrics in there, Afrocentrism came about to combat Eurocentrism. Eurocentrism was racist, and so was Afrocentrism. They both were racist, right? But Eurocentrism stopped long ago. They don't do that. Like you're talking about like early 1918. They don't do that. See, black Americans still do the Afrocentric and the revised history. Like you don't hear people from Germany and England and then people up in Europe do not claim to be the ancient Egyptians at all. You won't hear none of them scholars claiming that. But you'll hear the African American scholars claim it. But you won't hear no European scholars claim that. They'll tell you specifically they weren't white or black. They were Egyptian or they were North African. This is what white folks say today. They tell you they weren't white or black. They were Egyptian. They were North African peoples. And that's the honest truth. Afrocentrics, they're black. They're black. They're black. They're black. They're black. Everything's black. Everything's black. Chinese is black. Everybody. So we still have the racist history, and we still teach each other racist history. Eurocentrism doesn't do. It's no Eurocentrism no more like that. Now they did have blonde, blue-haired Egyptians. This is pre-dynastic times, and there's images everywhere. But that's another story. That's another topic that I may tackle one day. But anyway, y'all. What's that, AJ Port? Neptunes, yeah. Yeah, so Europeans don't claim to be the ancient Egyptians. That's just a black American thing. All right, I'm out of here, y'all.